Nick Wilde spent his entire adult life being exactly as bad as they expected. Not because he was born that way, because at 11 years old, he tried being good, and they made him regret it. And the movie asks you to find him charming. It works. You do. But here's the thing. There's a dark reality hiding right under that smirk. Something Zootopia never says out loud, and it's the exact same game you've been playing, ever since the last time your plans blew up in your face. Let's reframe this. Nick Wilde wasn't born a con artist. He was born a kid who actually believed in something. He found a junior ranger scout uniform. He showed up. He wanted to belong to something bigger. He walked into that room with his chin up, carrying every ounce of hope a kid could hold. They muzzled him, not metaphorically. They held him down, put a muzzle on his face, and told him, without saying a single word, the category he was born into mattered way more than anything he'd ever do. He was a fox. Foxes are sly. Case closed. They didn't just break his trust. They handed him a script claiming his biology was a life sentence. He was a child, and the thing he wanted most was proof trying was actually worth it. They handed him the exact opposite. Crying in an alley, he decided nobody gets to see him crack again. He didn't just wipe his tears. He hardwired his entire source code. He learned two brutal rules. Rule 1, never let them see you hurt. Rule 2, if the world is only going to see a shifty fox, there's zero point in being anything else. That ain't cynicism. That's a kid forging armor out of the only scrap metal available to him. The easy read? Nick chose the hustle. He's smart, saw the angle, decided shortcuts beat the climb. Charming rogue. Classic setup. But watch what Nick never does. He never actually tries. He runs cons demanding absolutely zero vulnerability, because in a hustle he controls the board. He writes the script. He never applies for a real job. He never asks for a real connection. He stays completely off the grid of expectations. He's got more brains than almost anyone in the film, and he uses exactly none of it on himself. That ain't someone picking easy money over hard work. That's someone who ran the numbers on hope and realized it was a trash investment. He didn't stop trying because he was lazy. He stopped because trying had a guaranteed payout. And that payout was the alley, the muzzle, and the crushing weight of getting shoved right back in your place. Quick pause. If you've been watching Nick Wilde and thinking, yeah, he's right though, the world actually is rigged like that. You can't just stay naive forever. Eventually, you have to get realistic. If that thought crossed your mind, hit subscribe. Because what you just called realistic is the most expensive lie you feed yourself. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact difference between actually learning from a brutal failure and using failure as an ironclad excuse to tap out. Watch Nick in Act 1. He's moving constantly. Hustling, redirecting, performing. The show never stops. That ain't someone at rest. That's a guy swapping ambition for sheer activity, so he never has to feel the void. He's busy enough that the archived version of himself, the kid with the uniform and the hope, can't surface and ask questions. Enter Judy. And here's what the film actually pulls off. Judy doesn't inspire Nick. She terrifies him. Not physically, emotionally, because she still believes. She walked into Zootopia thinking, trying pays off, and reality hasn't slapped her down yet. Nick knows exactly how this movie ends. So he does what anyone does, facing a walking reminder of the person they used to be, the person they were before they got smart. He tries tearing her down, not cruelly. He's no villain here. But watch the surgical precision of it. He doesn't waste a single word. Every sentence he shoots at her in the first act is precision engineered to make her feel like an idiot for hoping. Life is not a cartoon, carrots. He knows exactly where to aim, because it's the exact same spot still aching inside his own chest. The part that believed. He isn't attacking Judy. He's smashing a mirror. And then something happens that crashes Nick's whole system. She doesn't fold. She adapts, pushes back. She flips his own hustle into leverage and backs him into a corner. Not with force, with the exact same stubborn grit he used to run on. And instead of walking away, Nick stays, keeps helping her, tells himself he's stuck because of the recording and the deal. But watch his face when she levels up. You can see the archives starting to crack open. Fast forward to the Natural History Museum. Judy just lost it all, accidentally tore the city apart, and realized the system she worshipped was completely rigged. She quits, goes home, and Nick, the guy everyone bailed on, the guy nobody ever stayed for, Stays. Doesn't have to. Deal's done. He's free. Could easily walk right out of there. He sits down next to her, on the floor, in the empty museum. That ain't a con. That's the 11-year-old kid, still wearing the uniform. Here's the trick Zootopia pulled on you. It let Nick be the smartest guy in every room, made his cynicism land like sniper shots, made Judy look slightly naive by comparison, just a little too eager, too optimistic, almost embarrassing in her sincerity. And you laughed right on cue. You appreciated his gritty red on reality, found his world weariness earned. The movie turned you into Nick. You walked into a Disney flick about a bunny and a fox, and within 20 minutes, you were nodding along, completely agreeing trying is strictly for suckers. The film made you emotionally co-sign the exact defense mechanism it was actually trying to dismantle. Because the armor looks damn good, always does. Playing it cool reads as sophistication. Stacking bricks feels like earned wisdom. You were locked inside the matrix before you even saw the bars. And then the film quietly, deliberately took it apart. Not by proving him wrong with logic, but by handing you the bill, showing you what it actually cost him. Every single year he wasted playing it safe. Every real connection that never got off the ground. The whole damn life he missed out on because that archive stayed permanently shut. The film made you feel the crushing weight of the armor, not just the comfort of hiding inside it. You were in on the con. That's the trap. And that's exactly why it hits so hard. This is where it stops being about a fox. You know exactly what the archive feels like. You built one. Maybe it was a job application you ghosted after the third rejection. Maybe a creative project. You poured your soul into it. Someone dropped one lazy comment or worse. Total silence. And you quietly decided the math didn't add up. Maybe a relationship. Tried, crashed, and ever since, you've gotten insanely good at explaining why you aren't really looking right now. You call it getting realistic, protecting your peace, knowing your worth. The PR spin sounds so healthy these days. We've got a million clean, therapeutic labels for giving up. Rehearsing conversations before they even happen. Tuning your voice so you never sound too invested. Faking that specific brand of congratulations when a peer wins. The kind taking you a half second too long to hit send. You've got an alibi for every door you never opened. Every excuse is perfectly logical. None of them are the actual truth. You just got insanely good at quitting without looking like a quitter. That's the hustle. Nick's exact con. Not on other people. On himself. Staying busy enough to dodge the silence. Moving fast enough so the archived version of you can't catch up and ask why the hell you stopped trying. Here's the brutal truth. It worked. You're perfectly safe. Nobody slaps a muzzle on you if you never put on the uniform. Nobody rejects the application you burned. Nobody tells you the dream failed because you quietly pulled the plug in the dark before anyone else got a shot. But safe is not alive. The archive doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you frozen. Frozen things don't grow. They just sit there, in the dark, waiting for you to finally decide they're worth the risk of thawing out. Ask anyone. They will tell you losing motivation means burning out, running out of gas, hitting a wall with zero left in the tank. But Nick Wilde exposes the lie. Losing your drive after getting wrecked is not about running on empty. It is a calculated choice, dressed up as a logical conclusion. You ran the numbers, built the case, the evidence held up, and you quietly decided risking another hit just was not worth the emotional payout. You labeled that growth, called it wisdom, called it knowing yourself. But it is not. It is the exact same muzzle, only this time it is self-applied. Nobody had to hold you down for round two. I know this playbook. I spent 3 years grinding on something completely off the radar. A project does not matter what it was. The specifics are boring. What matters is the PR spin I put on it. Played the secrecy off as humility. Told myself I was just moving smart, keeping the cards close, waiting until the work was absolutely flawless. It was never going to be ready, because I was not actually building it. I was keeping it locked in the archive. That way, if it flatlined, I could tell myself I chose not to launch. My brother ripped that Band-Aid off once. Sitting at the kitchen table, he had this annoying habit of talking with his hands full of food, looks dead at me and asks, "Do you actually want to do this, or do you just want to have wanted to do it?" I dodged it, told him to chew his food, but the shot landed. I sat with that question for 6 months before I could even look in the mirror, because the ugly truth was, I burned years keeping the idea alive just to avoid facing the reality of it. Ideas cannot fail. Real things do. I am still fighting my way out of that trap, but I cracked the archive open. Most honest answer I can give you about where that ended up. The cynicism was never a flaw, just a symptom. The actual disease was a choice Nick made at 11 and never looked back. Decided hope was a liability. Decided dodging the pain beat taking the shot. Nick was not broken. He was completely frozen. And the fear was not a warning siren. It was proof he still had a pulse. Right now, you have the exact same choice. Stay in the archive. Keep the project dead quiet. Leave the application unsent. Keep the dream perfectly safe and entirely unreal. Or you finally force it open. Not because it is guaranteed to hit, because frozen things never even get the chance. If you are here for this kind of cinematic therapy, hit subscribe and click the video on your screen. Because thawing out the archive is not about blind optimism. It is proof you still got something left worth the risk.